So this teaser we got today,
Oh man,
it looks really good, and I mean, none of this surprises me because they kind
oh
of
wait, weren't you the guy who said they're gonna screw this up? It's gonna suck.
no, that was another Chad Smalley,
Oh,
that crazy guy.
keep getting you guys mixed up.
I saw, especially the first couple shots. I thought, man, this is just like Hello Tomorrow, which I know is
Oh sure, they're going for the exact same aesthetic, which is what the future looked like to 1962. You know, and it is very Jetsons.
And by the way, folks, in case you haven't heard of it, most people haven't, I think Apple TV did this great series. Only got one season called Hello Tomorrow with Billy Crudup and Hank Azaria.
Yeah, I really wanted to know where the story goes, but
it's a really great show that they put absolutely no effort into promoting it.
That was the main
so nobody
problem.
knew about it, and it got one season, and then it was done. But it's really cool, and it's basically looks like it's set in this world.
Apple TV is really bad about promoting anything they do.
Yeah, well, Severance
except for Severance.
Yeah, and of course, soccer
Ted
guy.
Lasso.
Ted Lasso, yes. But it looks the Hello Tomorrow series looks like it's set in this universe, basically.
Yeah, I love the fact that it starts in 4:3 also.
Yeah, and then it expands.
Yeah,
it's
because
cool.
I think a lot of what we've seen, including that original teaser, the one they showed at Comic-Con, seems like they've made a promotional movie or something.
Right.
Yeah, and so I think that's what this is. It's like, hey, welcome to the Baxter Building, and over here's where we eat dinner, and da, da, da.
First thing we get is the elevator door opens, and we get this panoramic view of this version of New York, which is basically 1962 New York with fictional buildings added to it. So you see the real Chrysler Building, but all these other crazy things that look like they're straight out of the Jetsons.
There's a couple of buildings that look like literally the Space Needle in Seattle.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got kind of like a flying saucery top, but yeah, I love that.
It's so cool.
We're already in a different world. And plus, I got to say, and I know it's just, this thing has been art directed to hell and back. Like even the color schemes are all, it's white and that blue and orange. And when you see the thing, even the orange wood is sort of reflecting the thing's color scheme. It's really gorgeous. So we got Reed and Sue walking into the kitchen, and it is the kitchen of tomorrow, very much like the show we were just talking about.
Hello Tomorrow, yep.
And I will say Vanessa Kirby's very pretty. Anyway, so basically they're introducing someone and saying this is where we have dinner, and it's like no matter how busy we are, we do it every
Sunday at 7 on the dot, no matter what. We're all here.
Then we get this view of the Baxter Building, which is crazy gorgeous. It's that design we've seen already kind of in the art, but it's super Jetsons.
Yeah.
Then we're in the kitchen with H.E.R.B.I and Ben.
You know, has H.E.R.B.I, I'm not as familiar with H.E.R.B.I. Did H.E.R.B.I always have a tape deck for a face?
No. You know, he was introduced in the cartoon, in the 70s cartoon.
Right.
Because they didn't have the rights to all the Fantastic Four, and they had to get rid of one of them.
How did that happen? How did the license only have 3 of the Fantastic
Because
Four?
I think somebody had the rights to one of the characters to do an individual. The character of the Human Torch wasn't able to be used as, at the time, the character had been optioned separately for use in a solo film, which never materialized.
Oops.
A popular but false urban myth contends that the character was replaced due to fears that children might attempt to emulate him by setting themselves on fire.
Okay.
Yeah, he has like a primitive early computer face, but they've gone a step farther since it's the 1960s and actually made like his eyes are actual tape.
It's really imaginative. I would never have predicted that.
Yeah, it's a good look.
But it's also raises a question is like, well, what? Why is there a tape deck there that's going back and forth?
And how does he see through a tape deck? It doesn't matter.
This is kind of cute. I the first time I watched this, I thought, oh, we didn't get to hear H.E.R.B.I.'s voice. I guess we'll hear that later. And I watched it again. I was like, oh, we do hear his voice. It's just the sound of a tape deck going back and forth. It's like,
H.E.R.B.I, how's that sauce coming? Yeah, I'll be the judge of that.
So he talks like he's basically like an R2D2. He's not going to have a human voice. So I kind of like that.
what I can't, wait, and we're seeing a little bit of it here, is we know because we've seen set photos that Ben Grimm is in that suit. That's actually a practical suit. What they're
with his
doing is
face being animated. Yeah.
yeah, they're adding animation. I think they're probably also adding stuff to the hands and whatever's visible, but it looks so comics accurate. It's
It does.
scary.
It's like
And
finally.
plus, those eyes in there are the actor's eyes. And yes, he's got blue eyes. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, introducing him in the kitchen is just them doing like a little wink to the fact that the actor is in the bear.
Yeah.
I love that. Where he's
Yeah,
like,
that's
you know
very
what I'm
cool.
going to do? Add a clove of garlic. I'm like, I'm loving it.
And then we get a really nice shot of Richard doing what he does.
Yeah.
Reed doing what he does.
Yeah. Reed Richards.
Just doing science.
He's doing science like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah. Love it.
I love the fact that even with the high tech, it's still a blackboard.
Yeah.
He has a high tech blackboard that pops up.
And I'm glad they showed all this stuff. I mean, we've seen some of these pictures already, but some people were speculating like, well, is it really in the 60s in this world, or is it just a modern day and it looks like the 60s? But I think it's because you can see the big computers that are behind them at the astronauts. The TVs that Ben is looking at in the shop window are very much, late 50s, early 60s TVs.
I do think that this is a 60s that had tech moved forward faster and
Some
possibly
kind of
due to
boost in
people
tech.
like Reed Richards.
Yeah. Right.
And yeah, it's just, plus also like when you look in the background, I like the fact that he still has their original spacesuits back there.
Oh yeah.
He keeps them around, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. All the we're going to launch into space stuff is very much like the, any of the Mercury astronaut kind of footage. But it's a cool, sleek looking rocket that we never had.
Yeah, I love all these flashbacks back to the. So it looks like obviously it's not an origin story,
but we'll see a little
glimpse. But we do get flashbacks to it. It looks like so. Yeah.
Can I just say, and this is a hope shared by most of the world. I hope that when they get irradiated, that the cosmic rays make a tack 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 sound, because in the panels of every time they do the origin, the cosmic rays are always drawn as these little like pill shaped things, and you hear tack 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 tack. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Or I'm walking. If it doesn't happen in the theater, I'm like, I don't care how it ends. Good on you, Galactus.
It's like the red shorts.
Yeah, just like the red shorts. Yeah, we see him. Basically, this is really nice dialogue too, where Reed always feels guilty about what happened to all of them. So we get a little bit of that where he's like, if it weren't for that trip, then you wouldn't have turned invisible, and Ben wouldn't have turned into a rock, and Johnny wouldn't have caught on fire.
Oh, just one thing I'm noticing about Ben's eyes. They definitely did something there, even though maybe they are his eye movements, but they moved him further apart than is humanly possible.
When he blinks, I think the blinking is got to be helped because they have to make even his eyelids rock.
Yeah. And there's a little nod here, I think. I know they've done this in the comics, but when he's walking around in a suit and his fedora and kind of looking sad, it's like that's very much reminiscent of Chickless.
Absolutely.
And
but that's from the comics too.
Yeah.
So I will say this: the Tim Story movies aren't good. They're not good, but they were giving us some of the stuff. I was like, they were trying. It's just that,
they had moments, but
they had
overall
moments.
very
also, did you know
overly campy
that when you first cut to that overhead shot of the thing walking down the alleyway, you see kids running away?
Yeah,
guarantee you they're the Yancey Street gang.
Okay,
the teenagers. The teen street gang that always give the thing shit. And I'm like, that's got to be the Yancey Streeters. I can't believe we'll get them.
That's so cool. And I love the reflection of Ben in the window as he's having a moment to himself, and just the blank, thoughtful expression. He's just the most sympathetic looking thing that I think we've ever seen.
Yes,
he just looks so adorable.
One thing that's interesting about this design, and I think it also has something to do with the way they've gone with the practical thing, and I think it is a good change, is that he doesn't have a lot of neck. I think the neck is actually kind of close to his normal neck. So it actually means he's got the freedom of movement. It's just like with the Batman helm, the cowl we always talk about. Yeah, but he's very rigid and stiff. And Chickless was too, because they did like the huge trapezoids as you would with like the Hulk or something. But here he's huge, but the neck isn't that huge. So he's able to move his head really well in this. And that's already going to help with the acting. Definitely. And you're right. Of course, you immediately feel terrible for him. It's very sweet.
Yeah. But I love too that we see, right off the bat, we see that he's not just miserable all the time, that he can enjoy himself.
Well, that's just like the comics. The great thing about Ben Grimm is he learns to live with it. So then we cut to Johnny, kind of briefly, but we do get to see him leap off the Baxter Building, bursting into flame. Awesome.
Yeah.
Here's something I find interesting. Oh, but you know what? I bet the excuse will be that when they became the Fantastic Four, Reed made all of them clothes made out of unstable molecules. Because in this scene, he's in just normal street clothes, turns in the Human Torch, and we see the end of this, I think, when he is up in the stratosphere and he's run out of juice. His clothes aren't burned away. So I'm like, oh, he must be wearing just normal clothes made of unstable molecules, which is why they don't burn up.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
You're right. Why not? I don't want to tell him what they can't do.
Why would he constantly be wasting his clothes?
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
that would be expensive.
Then we're just doing where basically Sue comes back at Reed and says, look, it's not what you did. It's like, Ben has always been a rock and Johnny's always been weird. And I'm always with you. I'm not invisible. So it's very sweet.
Yeah.
And we just cut through all these little things. And then we don't know why, but yeah, Johnny is full on heading into the space.
He runs out of air. Yeah.
We get some invisible womaning, which is great with her doing her force fields.
The Human Torch. I mean, this is him going out of the atmosphere and he flames off because he's run out of oxygen to burn, right? Is that
I would assume? On?
Yeah.
I would assume.
So what the hell is he doing?
We don't know his reason for doing it.
Yeah.
And then he falls down. And then you get the kids in the Thing Halloween costumes. Man.
Yeah.
Then you get cool 60s Fantasticar.
Man. Looks so good.
And that one does fly because they kept showing it at all the special events. They have a practical version that is basically like it has drones underneath it. So even in like Comic-Con's hall, they were able to have it fly over the heads of the people because the guys got a remote control.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's zooming and we get some more Human Torch through New York, looking amazing. Thing running
through rubble.
Yep.
She's torn to pieces.
And then Red Ghost. It's just so weird why we're seeing him there. Not my favorite villain and kind of a goof. If we get 3 superpowered apes.
Is that okay? I don't know anything about Red Ghost. What's the deal with Red Ghost?
Red Ghost, very fittingly for his name, it's not because he wears red, though he does. He's a communist. Mm-hmm. He's one of those early villains, Russian, and he's jealous of Reed Richards' brilliance and the trip he made and the powers they got. So he wants to replicate that exact same thing. Builds a spaceship just to go up into orbit and get hit by cosmic rays, just like the Fantastic Four. However, instead of him and 3 buddies or a girlfriend, he takes 3 apes with him.
Oh.
There's like a gorilla and an orangutan, and what's the other one? I don't know. There's 3 apes and him. They strap in, they go up, they get irradiated by cosmic rays, they come back down, they all have powers. His is he can turn invisible like Sue Storm. So the Red Ghost himself is now, invisible. The 3 apes are super intelligent, but they're still just apes. One of them can shape change. I'm sorry, we're talking about big monkeys. One can shape change. One is like Magneto, has like magnetism powers. And, oh, God, I can't remember what the third one does. But yeah, the idea that we're going to get a movie in which we will get John Malkovich, probably, and I hope, doing an outrageous Russian accent as the Red Ghost, and possibly 3 superpowered apes. I'm happy. You've got the look on your face of someone who's not ready for the Red Ghost.
I just had no idea about that plot aspect of this film.
I mean, he still shows up. One thing is, Marvel will, and true of DC as well, they tend not to ever forget about even their cheesiest villains. They'll bring them back later. Some writer will be like, I'm going to bring back the most obscure dude and make him cool or whatever. I think the most important thing about his first appearance is that was when they discovered the blue area of the moon, which is where Uatu, the Watcher, hangs out. So it was during Red Ghost's first appearance that they meet the Watcher. So that's pretty important. And maybe that'll be part of it too. I don't think anyone's been cast as the Watcher. They've got Jeffrey Wright doing the voice on the What If cartoon. That'd be awesome. And then, come on. Just stop on that frame.
Finally.
The shadow of Galactus on Manhattan.
Finally, with no shame. No shame. No comic book shame.
No comic book shame.
Straight
it's
up
a dude
Galactus.
with a tuning fork helmet. A giant with a big old tuning fork helmet. And then he's looking over the Statue of Liberty, which is minuscule next to his giantness. I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
And then basically a hero shot all of them standing on a platform. Oh, that's probably from the same TV thing we're talking about.
You know what's interesting about this is we don't see Reed using his powers in this clip.
I know. To tell you
I wonder
the truth,
why.
I think they're the most difficult of the effects to pull off.
So they're still working on it?
I have a feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, no Silver Surfer.
No Silver Surfer.
Even though we know that she is in this one.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf instead of Norrin Rad. Look, I'm Team Rad, but still, Shia LaBeouf. It's a different universe, man. And people are, of course, already jumping to, do you think they will include the Council of Reeds, like the Council of Kangs, where they'll have a multiversal group of Reeds, and we'll have Krasinski back, and we'll have the guy from the Tim Story movies, and maybe even the guy from the Roger Corman movie, and possibly Miles Teller from Fantastic. Man, that thing is a hard watch. I watched it for the first time last year. I did not see it in the theaters, but it was streaming.
I still haven't seen it. I don't want to. You can't make misfire.
Me. Yeah, I don't want to. So, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you are as excited as we are for some and that's the same month. Is it the same week as Superman?
No, it's like 2 weeks later, I think.
Okay.
So last week of July.
So if I do get to come down to Texas, I'll be back home. We won't be seeing Fantastic together. I'm sorry, pal. Right. But I can't stay for 2 weeks. That's too many enchiladas. But I'm very excited for that movie. I can't wait. And yeah, you rightfully so.
Redress the set.
You redress the set. We're gonna talk some Batman now.